Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more. The Man That Can Project podcast, a podcast empowering career-driven men to live more fulfilling lives. We are here to challenge your beliefs, redefine success, and talk about the important stuff in a relatable way. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. My name's Lachie, Stuart. Let's get into it. Episode 399. We're one away from 400 dropping on Monday, which is Michael Sears, the founder of HGG Performance and also the inventor of the famous ISO-tip bar, which is going nuts. It's been on Joe Rogan and a lot of very influential and huge sporting teams around the world are using it. So make sure you tune in Monday for that one. Today, we're going to be talking about keeping the promises that you make to yourself. I was chatting with a client this morning, and one thing that obviously being a coach and being someone who has plenty of appointments is I'm aware of how many people don't keep their word, how many people don't keep their commitments, and how many people don't keep their fucking promises. And we were discussing it this morning and we had a really good conversation around it. I would have loved Chris to come on today, but we'll save that one for another day around why are people not keeping their commitments. And I brought up this example of, remember back in the day, and for those who remember the landline telephones, so not these mobile devices here where you can carry them wherever, before mobiles, where if you made said in a meeting, or if you were going to meet your mates at the cinema, you had to do what you were saying you were going to do because there was no other way to contact them. They would have been standing there feeling stood up. Whereas now with mobile devices, we can cancel up to 2 minutes before or even 10 minutes later and say, oh, sorry, I forgot, or I'm not coming. Back in the day, that was not possible because one of the two people in the appointment or in the meeting, you wouldn't be able to contact each other. So I feel now that people are so easily accessible that it's a lot easier for you to bail on your commitments. Now, sometimes there's a valid reason for it. Majority of the time, it's because we're being lazy. I know for myself, I make commitments, and when the time comes, I'm like, I don't really feel like, attending this or going to that. And the easy option is to send a cheeky text message saying, look, can't make it, something's come up, or I don't feel like it, whatever it is. Often you don't even tell the truth why. The hard thing to do is to honor that commitment, is to keep your word. Because think of this, and I do want to dive into a few things around this, like one, lacking commitment and how many of us aren't, either assertive enough, we can't say no, we don't enforce boundaries, we don't even set boundaries. And the flip side is we just can't keep track of our time. And I'm not speaking here trying to be the guru and saying I'm perfect. I'm speaking from my own experience dealing with clients, but also how I show up in areas. But the thing to be mindful of is this. The way that you show up is you're teaching other people how to treat you. So the example I give is this, is if there are people that I'm working with, and if I have a client, for example, and if they're continuously late or they often don't show up and you don't even get a message from them, over time, at the beginning, I'll call them, pull them up, what's going on. But if this continues to happen, if this becomes a habit, my commitment to you, my commitment to the client declines. Why would I commit more to you than you commit to yourself? that's something that we need to think about. But let's dive into these things here, around lacking commitment. As I said, there's people who aren't assertive enough, meaning they can't enforce the boundaries that they have. You may well know that on a Friday afternoon, rather than sipping on beers, you want to go spend time with your family, or you want to have a quiet night in so that you can get up and be productive the following day. But when knockoff drinks come and the boys say, hey, let's go for a beer, you're not assertive enough to say, look, I can't do that. I'm doing this tomorrow. You just go, I'll go with the flow. And then what may happen is you roll in at 10:30 at night, intoxicated, and your next day is ruined. Or there's plenty of examples that you may relate to in that, but I would love you to think about that. So if you do have goals, if you are ambitious, which is why you would be listening to this podcast, you need to learn to start being assertive around what it is that you want, because majority of people in your environment don't care whether you achieve your goals or not. They're caring about what's in it for them, right? Within the interaction or the relationship that you have going on. Okay. So no one cares about your goals as much as you do. And if you're not showing up for them, don't expect to, one, achieve them, and other people to give a shit about them. You need to learn to say no. We need to understand that if you continue to fall short here, if you continue to not draw the line in the sand and overcommit and break promises, eventually you're going to start being unhappy with yourself, being a little bit frustrated with yourself that you're not following through. And that can have a ripple effect into other areas of your life. So don't assume that it might only be with the gym. If you're just doing it with the gym, it's still creating a habit. And once again, allowing people to understand how they can treat you in multiple areas of your life. I don't care if you're rocking up late just to the gym. I will then start to believe and assume that you're going to rock up late everywhere. And if you just stop showing up, chances of me inviting you somewhere is slim to fucking none. So I want you to be mindful of this. I think it's very important to think about. Also move to that next stage. As I mentioned, for me, there are times where I commit to things and I'm very excited about it. And then as it gets closer, for example, tonight I'm running the webinar for how to build massive confidence. I've been excited about this. Even, this morning I'm excited, but as it gets closer, I'm like, man, I just love a night off. I'd love to just put on a film before I fly overseas and just take it easy. But I've made a commitment. There are people showing up on this webinar that I cannot let down. And I also know that when I start the webinar, it's going to be fun it's going to be really enjoyable. So start challenging every time you look to cancel something. Go, is it just because I'm wanting to be comfortable here? Is the quality of my life going to happen? Or is the quality of life that I desire and the man that I want to become going to stay in this comfort zone? Would he cancel right now? Or would I show up and keep my fucking word? You got to answer that question yourself. No one else can do that for you. And understand that all of this is habit forming. The quality of your life is based on the actions that you take, and actions that you take are based around the habits, right? Or it's almost like a feedback loop. So you need to think about this. Is what you're doing today, is what you're committed to, and is what you're showing up for, allowing you to be the man that you want to be? So take it nice and easy, but think about this and be mindful of it, because whether it's just, it might be a doctor's appointment, it might just be a coffee with a mate. You need to value them equally. If you're giving your time to it, it should be valuable. If you don't feel it's valuable, don't say yes. Start enforcing your boundaries. Start getting better at saying no. Practice it. And the best way to start there is just say no to everything until you've got a blank schedule. And then you can start saying yes to the things that you feel, hey, I wouldn't mind doing that. So gents, thank you for tuning in to 399. Oh, wow, what an exciting milestone. Do something today to be better for tomorrow. Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachie Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.